thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Maryam. I'm from Yemen. It's in the Middle East. I'm in Japan. I've been in Japan for the last 7 months, around 7 months. I came to Japan because I love anime. Yes, I find it very interesting. Likewise, the culture and so many other things, which I will be explaining further later on. The reason I came to Japan was not just because of that, but because I'm really interested in the people, and they're so nice, and the different culture and how rich it is. I study international relations, but at the same time I teach English here at different institutions. I teach children and other times adults, so it differs. And I'm quite enjoying my time here, and I think it's going to be a very good experience for my life.
Okay, very nice. How about your city? What city are you from?
What city? I'm from Taiz.
Okay.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit of the biggest differences between living in Tokyo and living in your city?
Okay, first of all, very cheap. My country is much cheaper than Tokyo. Tokyo is quite expensive. Likewise, people are different. It's because of the culture, I think. Like each country has something that's different from the other in the end. But like the culture there is more very conservative. There's a lot of family and people, and it's not rather than individual, it's more about group as well. So I think we kind of have that in common with Japan. Japanese people also are always about like all together. So that's something we do have in common. But apart from that, many things are different. It's very cheap. People are friendly in both places, but each country is different. I think what we actually have in common was that Yemen also speaks Arabic and Japan speaks Japanese. So we don't really have an exact immediate second language. So in both countries, I think we're all trying to learn English. It's something that is on the rise. Lifestyle is quite different. As I said, it's very conservative. People there are it's a different perspective of how you see things when you're there than when you're in Japan. Living is, well, the seasons are different too. Like here it gets quite cold. In Yemen, it's completely different because some cities are mountainous. So if it's mountainous, the weather doesn't get too hot, neither does it get too cold. So it's actually perfect weather to live in. But in Japan, we have like 4 seasons, and then it can either get too hot or too cold.
Right.
So yeah, that can be a bit.
So when you say conservative, even more than in Japan? Because I thought
Yes,
Japan was
is a
very conservative place.
Japan, in comparison to states like America, yes, it's quite conservative, but compared to ours, because we're more religious, like mostly Muslims, Islam, so that is why it's extremely conservative. In Japan, it is conservative in terms of they still stick to their traditions, just like we do, but ours traditions and religion as well. So for example, people usually be very covered. There's certain ways that you're expected to dress and so many things. At least in Japan, to some extent, there is some freedom to some extent, but there are certain customs that are always followed. But that's
Okay.
yeah.
How about the role of a man and the role of a woman, what you see in Japan and what you can see in Yemen? Is there a specific role that if you're a man, you should do this and this and this, and women should do this at this age and like that, or it's not?
Yeah, we have something similar to that. Actually, I'm actually studying on that, which is women empowerment in both Japan and Yemen, because both, Japan is considered a strong state where it actually has very developed and so on, but yet women have different, there's a gap as well.
Yes.
Same as in Yemen, just that Yemen is a weak state in compared to Japan, of course. So yes, in my country mostly we have that. I mean, women can drive and everything, but there are certain jobs and certain things that men are supposed to do rather than women. There's a very big gap actually between men and women. So that is why a lot of women are nowadays studying and getting more rights and trying to fight for their rights. Yeah. But in Japan, I think to some extent, there is a gap. But at the same time, women are almost, like they do have a lot of rights at the same time. So yeah, I would say that it's a bit different.
How about, tell me, you said you've been here 7 months.
7 months.
Okay, so in this time, what is your favorite thing about Japan, and what is something you really hate about Japan? So.
Okay. For me, I already had a bit of an idea before coming to Japan, because I love watching mangas and reading mangas and watching animes and everything. So I already had some of an idea kind of the Japanese culture and the people. So coming here, what I really, really love is the level of discipline, the level of determination that they have. Like, it's like from such a young age, like even as children, like when I teach and so on, these children are like the way they're brought up, like it's like literally in their blood, you know, the discipline, they wake up so early that they don't have too much time to waste. Like every minute of their lives are actually, sometimes it can be a little bit stressful, but in the end, I believe it'll pay off. So yes, I really love that about Japan, is they're very determined, they're very disciplined, they work so hard, like, so that's really what astonishes me, like it's amazing. What I hate is a kind of a strong word to use, but there are certain things that are different, I believe, because everybody has a different perspective. What I find, like, I don't like is something that they might also find in my own beliefs or cultures that they might not like. So for me, what I think is different is, well, the idea, for example, for me, for the food, that some of the foods are raw, like sushi and so on. There are certain types that are okay, but a lot of the food is less spicier than my country. We have a lot of spices, we do a lot of cooking. So here everything is quite raw or very little taste to it. So I think that's always gives me a big trouble. Yeah.
I can agree with you. I feel very, very the same thing. Tell me about your expectation before coming to Japan. Maybe you had an image, an idea of what you were going to see based on what you liked watching anime or reading mangas or searching about. But once you come here and you start living here, maybe something changed?
True. Actually, yes, the same thing. It's like the idea of Japan. I think for many of us outside, it's always this Japan image, like, oh, it's another world. You're expecting to see maybe robots walking in the street, or like it's so advanced in technology and everything. So yeah, when I came here, it really changed, because I came to realize, yes, they're developed and they have a lot of technology and everything, but they're just like us. They're just people. They work really hard they have been working for a very long time to make Japan what it is today. Some things are not as great, but everything that they did is from their own hard work and their own discipline. So yes, I just found out that they're just like us. There's nothing different. Like, they just put a lot of effort into making what the future will be or where they are today. So I think that's what really amazed me, was that, okay, the idea that we've had of this Japan, they're just very normal people, like working every day, doing their best. Just that maybe for us, we come from societies where it's a little bit more relaxed and so on. So yes, I think.
Okay, awesome. Very nice. Okay, so to finish today, please give us a message, or give a message to people who are still wondering if they should come to Japan and work and study. They still don't know, they are not sure. So now that you're here and you have experienced what it is, what would you say to them?
Well, I would say that Japan is really a different country. It's unlike any other country. So I would really, really recommend that anybody who wants to find this life-changing experience or experience something completely different from anywhere else should really come to Japan. In terms of studying, it's different. In terms of teaching, it's quite easy to get good jobs, and they pay very well as well. So yes, they shouldn't really worry much. As long as you search you can find good jobs that pay very well. And there's also a future. Like, other countries might not be as accepting to foreigners in terms of work and future, but I think Japan gives a lot of opportunities if you know where to search. So I would really recommend, really advise that if you're really interested in a different culture in Japan, then you should go ahead and do not hesitate, and it would be really a life-changing experience.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. So thank you for doing this interview.
Thank
and
you.
for coming.
Thank you. It was
Thank you very
awesome.
much.
Thank you.